Okay, so I'm going to talk about Princess de Cleves. So first, I'm just going to give a basic recap of the story for all of you fantastic people who didn't read it. Shame. So basically, there's the Princess de Cleves. She comes to court. She's like roughly 16 years of age. Everyone's like, oh my god, she's so pretty. Everyone wants to be with her. And Monsieur de Cleves, who first sees her in a jewelry store, and she sparkles even amongst the diamonds, he decides to pursue her, and they end up getting married. So that's how she becomes the Princess de Cleves. But shortly after, there's a ball, and at the ball she meets Monsieur de Nemours. And Nemours is like the Brad Pitt at court, I guess you could say. He's a fox, everyone's in love with him, everyone wants to be with him. He's got things with, he has things going on with Mary Stuart. He's supposed to be courting Queen Elizabeth off in England, everyone wants him. And he sees the Princess de Cleves for the first time here, and they immediately fall in love through their sly glances. But their love cannot be requited, it remains unrequited, because of the fact that they have to keep up their appearances at court. And her own mother, Madame de Chartres, she's like, you cannot have love affairs, it's the worst thing you'll do in your life. Don't have it. Her basic motto is happiness is to be loved by her husband and for him and to love him in return. So the princess chooses not to love him. She goes through her life like being really miserable. She's always off in the country being sad. She ends up telling her husband that she has like this crush, this passion for de Nemours. He gets really upset at her, but he's like, it's okay, whatever. In the end, he ends up going crazy over it and ends up dying of an illness. De Nemours is then like, oh, like now we can have our love, but she realizes it's not the way to go. And she ends up going off to a nunnery and dying at a young age, and it's an awful ending. So that's the basis of the story. So, but there's much more underneath. So first off is the big theme of appearance. The French court is all about appearances. Everyone is constantly all made up. They're always in the salon, just like eating and drinking and having parties and putting on plays. And it's just the whole idea that there's like two people, I guess, when you can say when you're at court. Like, you're your outer person and your inner person. And Madame de Cleves, or the princess, she has a really hard time with this because she believes in being true to yourself. So she has a really hard time sort of keeping up her appearance, which is why she goes out to the country a lot. Okay, another thing is the theme of sight. Everything is done through glances. No one really comes out and says anything. Like de Nemours doesn't really come out and say that he loves her, and the princess doesn't really come out and say that she loves him. And no one really has love affairs like that. It's all done with like sly glances and enigmatic gestures. Another theme that's really important is interiority, because there's this sort of duality going on with, you know, the self that you portray, your appearance, and there's a tension between appearance and reality. The Princess de Cleves is a very interior person. She's constantly shrinking back into herself. And throughout the novel, we have a series of letters that are read, and the letter sort of represents you sharing your interiority with somebody. Like if you go and you write a letter and you seal it and you send it to someone, it's like you're sending a piece of yourself to someone else, and that's the whole point. But at the court, one of the letters goes missing, and someone else reads a letter that's not intended for them, and chaos ensues, because this is when reality is, it ends up coming into conflict with appearance. And at the French court, like, they can't have that. They either have to have full appearance or full reality. You can't have the two of them coming together and mingling, because it just creates utter chaos. And so some of the chaos that happens is the fact that, like, Monsieur de Cleves when he finds out about the princess's love affair with Denimore, he says to her, he's like, "Why did you not leave me in this happy state of blindness so many husbands enjoy?" Because for him, ignorance is bliss, and he prefers the decorated life at court, where the members are nothing more than sort of like glittering ornaments on a carefully constructed stage. But their world's really fragile, and so anytime there's something like a crack in it, there's a potential for it to be shattered, and they can't have that. And so there's that. And so eventually the princess ends up realizing that it's more important to her to have reality be all that she can be. Like, she can't stand this clashing between appearance and reality. So that's why she decides that she can't be with Denimores, because she'd have to be at court and keep up this life of appearance, and she just can't have it. It's too stressful. And so she decides to go to the nunnery and not have the love. Like, she realizes there's potential for love, but what does she say? She says something. I don't remember what she says. But she eventually realizes that it's better not to willfully blind oneself. Again, which is the whole idea of sight. Like, the king dies because he ends up getting a spear in his eye. It's the idea that, like, his sight was corrupted because he was always having love affairs and his appearance wasn't matching up. And so that's why he dies. Some other minor themes are the theme of portraits. Denimore steals a portrait of the Princess de Cleves, and she also has portraits of him at her little villa in the country. But the idea is that they're more comfortable in themselves when they're just with the portrait, because they can't be with the real person. Because again, they can't have reality and appearance clash. They can only have one at two separate times, and they can't have that. And that's where the whole theme in lecture was brought up about the French term vraisemblance, which in English is supposed to mean believability. It's the idea that you have to put on this character and you have to constantly perpetuate what you're supposed to be in court. Like the princess, she's supposed to be this beautiful person. Denimore, he's this sort of macho man that everyone's in love with, and he has to put on that appearance. Even though he loves the princess, he still goes around and gives off the idea that he's having other affairs, because that's his thing. He has to keep up his appearance. And yeah, in the end, she chooses what she wants to do, and it's better for her. Yeah, that's basically it. The world is an illusion, and it's like a porcelain doll with a cracked facade, and you can't have reality and appearance mix, and that's basically it. The